What is up, guys? This is Kyurem from the Trinity of Lift, and today I'm bringing all of you guys my Star Seraph Shaddolls deck profile. So, ever since the World Superstar set dropped for me personally yesterday on Thursday, I just had to get the Star Seraph cards as soon as I possibly could, because after a bit of Star Seraph Shaddolls playtesting on stuff like YGO Pro for a little bit, I just really did enjoy this new variant of Shaddolls, and I feel that with this new Star Seraph monsters, it just really did reinvigorate this entire deck to a point where it can very much compete in this meta. And so I just had to build the deck as soon as I could, and I'm having an absolute blast with this deck. I actually just took this deck to my locals today, and I will say that I don't mean to brag, but I did go XO. I haven't actually done that in quite a bit, so I'm actually very happy with that. And yeah, just this deck really can compete now, and I'm very happy to bring you all this deck profile tonight. So let's get right into it. Alright, so starting off, we'll start with the Star Seraphs. We have the 3 Star Seraph Scepter, and we have the 3 Star Seraph Sovereignty. So, these guys are what basically gave the deck its name as Star Seraph Shaddolls. These guys are just phenomenal in the sense that they can just help you generate free advantage, as well as go into some pretty darn powerful extra deck monsters. As what essentially they are is that Scepter is basically a Stratos, and Sovereignty is that whenever it's special summoned, you can draw a card, and if that drawn card is a Star Seraph, you can summon that. So they just have this really nifty 2-card combo with 1 Scepter and 1 Sovereignty that can essentially get you a +2 or even a +3 on your very first or second turn whenever you possibly get this combo. And just this 2-card combo that allows you to generate that +2 or +3 really just helps Shaddolls in the sense that it can help you draw into your power cards just that much more quicker. Combined with the deck thinning aspect of the Shaddolls and how they have the ability to just quickly send themselves to the grave to get effects, you really can start drawing into your very big power plays very fast, actually. And it's just really, really helpful. And also, of course, these guys are light, so they are possible Nephilim fodder targets. So they also have that going for it. And just this engine in general just really gave Shaddolls that light engine that they really needed. So we do run 3 of every Star Seraph. Following that, we go into the Shaddoll lineup, and really I just run 2 of every Shaddoll, starting with the 2 Shaddoll Beast, the 2 Shaddoll Dragon, the 2 Shaddoll Squamata, and then the 2 Shaddoll Dragon, the 2 Shaddoll Hedgehog, and then the 2 Shaddoll Falco. Really, I didn't find any Shaddoll to be necessarily bumped up to 3, so I just stuck everything at 2, as I feel that just 2 of everything is just fine. You won't really need a third of any given Shaddoll, so I did just leave it at this even number of all the Shaddolls. So that's what we run in this new Shaddoll deck. Following the Shaddolls, we follow them up with the obligatory Triple Mathematician, because obviously we want to get our Shaddoll effects as soon as we can, as getting them into grave to get free pluses and or spell destruction and or deck thinning is always very, very nice. So we do run the 3 Mathematician just to help us propel through our deck. Following the Mathematician, we do also still run a couple baby dragons. We do run the 2 White Dragon and the 1 Black Dragon. I did cut White Dragon from 3 to 2 just because I had to cut it for space. And now that we do have that big light engine in the form of the Sovereignties and the Scepters, we really didn't need a 3rd White Dragon. But in my opinion, I still feel that you should run this in the Star Seraph Shaddolls deck, just because they float and they're just extra fodder for your Nephilims and your Winda. So we do have these Chaos Dragons. Following the Chaos Dragons, we have 2 more monsters. One of them is going to be Pero Cerberus. The more I use this card, I swear to God, the more I'm falling in love with it. It's so good in the sense that it's just simple destruction that you can send to grave. And what this guy actually helps you do in this deck is, firstly, you can use Pero to make your Shekinagas, which is always nice to have, as Shekinaga really does put in a lot of work this format against things like Necros and whatnot. And another thing, too, is that Pero is also, it also turns Mathematician into a Jin out, as you can summon Mathematician and ditch Pero, and right there you have an out to your Jin lock. So it also just, I guess you could say, sort of adds to this deck in the form that it adds more Jin lock potential, and it also gives you some more helpful fodder. So that's why we do run the 1 Pero Cerberus. Finally, for the final monster, and I'm pretty sure you all probably saw this coming already, we do run the 1 BLS. Because this deck is lights and darks, and well, when we can run BLS consistently to any form of, to any way, shape, or form, we should run BLS. So we do have that one. Alright, so that is it for the monster lineup. Following that, we'll go right into the spells. Starting off with the triple Shaddoll Fusion. Again, we just really need Shaddoll Fusion. After all, it's a fusion-based deck. And following that, we have the obligatory 3L Shaddoll Fusion. Again, this is the cards that you want to see as often as you can, as early as you can in this deck. So, we gotta just run the 3 Shaddoll and the 3L Shaddoll Fusions. There really isn't much of an explanation that I can give because they're just really, really good. So, we have these guys. Following that, we have the one Foolish Burial. Again, because we can make Foolish Burial become any Shaddoll effect that we want, as well as it can also kind of serve as a fourth Mathematician in the sense that we can also send Peril with it. So it's also just another fourth sending outlet that I feel we should run now. Following that, we have our final two spells, which is just the two generic staple spells right now, which is the one Raigeki and the one Book of Moon. So that is it for these spells. Moving on to the traps, which we actually do run quite a bit now, which is pretty darn surprising, considering that Shaddolls haven't run spells in so long, but, well, now we actually do have a trap lineup. So we do start off with the one Shaddoll Core, because Core can help us do some pretty darn nutty plays with Nephilim, and can really help us just recycle our spells and traps, so we can just get more push, I guess you could say, during our turn. Also, using Shaddoll Core for our elements whenever we have to use it for a fusion material is always helpful whenever that might happen. So we do have the one Shaddoll Core. Following that, we have the two Breakthrough skill. We have Breakthrough in here just to help us get around problematic power cards of our opponent. Like if they try Necrons of Trishula us, or maybe something like, I don't know, a Ritual Beast Tamer tries to activate an effect, or a Yosenju monster tries to activate an effect, or all that kind of stuff, or maybe like a Satellar Knight monster or a Deneb is trying to activate. We want to have the breakthroughs in here just to stop our opponent, just to make sure that they don't get free advantage over us and that we can keep plussing over them. So breakthrough skill just really helps us slow down our opponent as much as we possibly can. Following that, we have the pretty darn big one-ups of this format, in my opinion. We have the one Bottomless for general removal. We have the one Warning because we don't want to get Denko Record, so we have the Warning to stop any basic XYZ summon and or summon in general, so we have the one Warning. Then we have the one Compulse because more Jin outs, more Jin outs, more Jin outs. And then finally, in that same idea, we have the one Ring of Distraction because you can never have enough Jin outs. So, that is it for the entire 40-card main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. We start off with the darn standard triple El Shaddoll Nephilim, because Nephilim is the one we'll be making, as always, most often, because she is the biggest, she has the best offensive effect, and she floats. So, we have to run 3 of her. Following Nephilim, we have the 2 El Shaddoll Winda to help slow down our opponent and stop their special summons, and again, it's really good because then your opponent really cannot do big combos. Like in Ritual Beast, they cannot combo almost at all. So having the one window to just slow down our opponent to our level is always very nice. Finally, for the last 2 El Shaddolls we do run the 2 El Shaddoll Shekinaga, because Shekinaga is actually very relevant in this format because it can stop stuff like Necrons of Trishula. I'm going to keep bringing it up again because we just really do not want to get Trishula'd and all that kind of good stuff. We just can really stop a lot of threats with Shekinaga. So we do have the 2. So that is it for the fusions. Moving on to our synchros, we start off with the one Leo because we can always make this off of Nephilim and a Falco, and having the Leo to just really stop our opponent's targeting effects can really just help us push for more damage. And following the Leo, we have the one Goyo Guardian because we're going to steal your monsters and then we're going to use it for overlaying the material and or fusions. So having the Goyo for that is always very nice. And then finally, we have one more synchro in the form of the one Armades because it gets around traps, it gets around Valkyrius, it gets around a lot of threats. So we have the Armades because we can make it pretty darn easy with something like a Falco and a Mathematician. And just in general, it gets around a lot of the relevant things in this format. Alright, moving on to the XYZs, which I will say are pretty dang cool. We start off with the one Evil Swarm Ouroboros. So, Evil Swarm Ouroboros is one of the 2 XYZ monsters that we can make in this extra deck with the Star Seraph monsters. As I didn't mention before, but all these Star Seraph monsters cannot be used as overlay materials unless it is for a rank 4 that requires 3 or more materials. So, Evil Swarm Ouroboros is one of those monsters because it does take 3 level 4s. And as I was saying before, how you can make your 2-card combo turn into a possible +3, this is where Ouroboros comes in, as you can possibly make this guy first turn and have the ability to rip a card out of your opponent's hand, which is pretty darn nuts. He also can be a Walking Compulse or a I guess you could say sort of like a number 80 Rhapsody. He's like halfway there. But still, he has all these pretty dang good removal effects that can really help us get around a lot of our opponent's stuff. So, having the Ouroboros to either try and neg our opponent or at least try and get something problematic off the board really can just help have our Star Seraph plays have more versatility. And also, I couldn't resist having this card in DT Ultra, so that too. We have the one Evil Swarm Ouroboros. Following that, we have the one Stellar Knight Deltaros, because this is the second target that we can make with our Star Seraphs, as he is also another generic level, another generic rank 4 that takes 3 materials, and he just gives us simple destruction, so having Deltaros for that simple destruction, as well as having his fairly big body, always just really helps us, again, with those Star Seraph plays. Finally, we have 3 more XYZs in this extra deck, starting off with the one Exciton Knight, because, well, in general, nuking the board always is really helpful because we can really start gaining free advantage over our opponent by just negging them a whole ton. So we do have the one Exciton Knight. Then we have the one Castell, because Castell is always great to spin back our opponent's big monsters and or their problematic monsters. So having the Castell is always another generic rank 4 staple. And then finally we have the one Lavavo Chain, because it's a rank 4 mathematician essentially, so why wouldn't we run it? Well then, I guess that brings us to the end of this Star Seraph Shaddolls deck profile. Please let me know what you guys think of this Star Seraph Shaddolls deck profile down in the comment section below. I hope you guys all did enjoy, and as always, this is Kyurem from the Trinity of Lift, and I'll see all of you guys later. Peace.